Jacob Zuma is going ahead with his private prosecution against President Cyril Ramaphosa. It's despite Ramaphosa securing an urgent interdict, allowing him not to appear in court today as Zuma had wanted. Now, to remind you, Zuma has to attend the High Court in Johannesburg today, accusing Ramaphosa of being an accessory after the fact in his case against State Prosecutor Billy Downer and journalist Karen Moore. So let's bring you up to speed. ENCA reporter Maloko Moloto, who knows all the details about this. Hello to you, Maloko. Let's talk about then why we have to have the president, rather the former president, in the court today. What's going on?
Good morning, Gareth. Well, you would recall that this case was supposed to be taking place today in the criminal court here in Johannesburg. But on Monday, we had the High Court interdicting the former President Jacob Zuma from proceeding with this case. He, as you correctly said, wanted President Cyril Ramaphosa criminally charged. But now, in terms of the court order of Monday, that is not going to be happening today. This pending the outcome of the review application. You'd recall that the urgent application that President Cyril Ramaphosa made was divided into two parts. The first part, which is part A, is that the president needed an interdict, which he got, an interim interdict which stops Mr. Zuma from prosecuting him privately. Part B is more about the merits of the president's arguments, because he is saying that Mr. Zuma is charging him on the basis of an unlawful or illegal non-prosecution certificate. So that is a separate matter. We know now that it's going to be heard. That is the argument, or the arguments will be heard with regard to the Part B application of the president. It's going to be heard on the 16 or around 17 or 18. I think it's a two-day hearing of May. But today, the former President Jacob Zuma, according to the statement issued by his JG Zuma Foundation, is coming to appear here. Nzwanele Manye, who speaks for the JG Zuma Foundation, is claiming that the Monday court order or judgment essentially only excuses the President Cyril Ramaphosa from attending here. He claims that the criminal or the case continues, but if you look at the order of the court, it basically says specifically that Mr. Zuma is being interdicted from continuing with that prosecution. So it's a matter of what Mr. Manye is saying, and on the other hand, what the court order specifically says. Of course, we will have to hear when Mr. Zuma, because we are told he will be appearing here in person, we'll have to hear from them as to specifically what would he be doing when he appears here. What we know for a fact is that on Monday the High Court said that prosecution cannot continue today as it was intended to continue by the former president.
I imagine then, with the former president expected to appear, maybe just give us the time, if we have one, about what time the president or the former president is expected to be there. But then, as expected, I'm sure there's very, very high security.
Ordinarily, that is what you would expect, Gareth, but there isn't much, at least for now, outside court. All you see here are the Metro Police, and I haven't seen the actual police. Well, I'm seeing men in suits, but they don't look like the Presidential Protection Services, because those are distinct. Those members of the SAPS who are protecting the president and the former president. So, and also the issue of access control, usually that tends to be visible, and at this point in time there isn't much, unless if really they don't care much about such issues, because the understanding is that there certainly is not going to be the commencement of the private prosecution. That we know is not happening. Maybe they know that whatever the former president is going to be doing today is not an issue that would be taking long. And we know that he is supposed, or his appearance, the former president, in this court is supposed to be taking place at 9:30. But at this point in time, I'm afraid I really do not know exactly what he is coming to do here. We will have to wait and find out when he arrives. But as I said earlier, the court was very clear that his private prosecution of President Cyril Ramaphosa must not continue today. It cannot happen.
Well, this is why we're going to wait to see what happens when it happens a little bit later this morning. But as Moloko says, the former president is expected to be appearing on the steps where Moloko is at the moment. No sign of him yet. No real strict security in place at the moment. So I guess it's a wait-and-see situation. Moloko Moloto, thank you very much, as always, with the very latest on what is quite a complicated court case. So if you feel like you are missing some of the details with the backwards and forwards, we'll be going back to Moloko again a little bit later.